Nerderinos, it's Nerdburger here. Oh, hey Kaz, you know what's a bad idea? Hugging your cat and doing your hair while wearing a black shirt right before you film. Maybe next time use a delinter or change your shirt. And today's video is long overdue. As many of you know, last year I was doing a 100 horror movies in 1 year challenge. Did I complete that challenge? I know, some of you know, but many of you won't because I never actually finished that video series. I watch a crap ton of horror. It is what got me through most of the terrible year that was 2017. It's what I do to sleep at night. If I don't watch a horror movie, I can't fall asleep. I know that's really strange, but that's the way it is. So I thought I'd sit down today to talk to you about my 100 horror movies in 1 year challenge, what I've been watching recently, and show you some of the horror goodies that I've been gifted recently, and also purchased myself. So I'm going to call this a little bit of a horror spooky fun time video. Last year, I started something. It was the 100 horror movies in 1 year challenge. I wasn't sure if I would finish it, but it was a good thing to try and distract me from everyday life. Life was crazy last year. It's still pretty crazy. But having horror movies to watch nearly every single day, and watching people go through these horrible ordeals, and then at the end of it, hey, guess what? Kaz, she's okay. I'm alright. Horrible things, it's okay. It's just make-believe. It's fine. Things are okay. So I found myself watching horror movies to fall asleep at night. It was all I could do. And did I complete the challenge? Some of you know, some of you may not know, because I never finished the video challenge series. But here we go. Here is my lovely book. I write down every single movie and the date it came out. In my other books, I write little reviews of every single one. And here we are at 189 horror movies in 12 months. Ending with Jason Goes to Hell from 1993. Yes, I did complete my challenge. I smashed it out of the ballpark. I learned so much about horror. I found Basket Case, my second favorite horror film of all time. If you wonder what number one is, it's Seed of Chucky. I found a love for animal attack movies, especially shark movies. I'm currently saving my dollars to purchase some new shark movies off the interwebs, including Ghost Shark and Sand Sharks. And at the moment, literally in the DVD player, I am watching Alligator 1 and 2, which is a really fun 70s animal attack. Someone flushes a gator down the toilet, boop, and it morphs into a giant gator and eats people in the sewers. I finished my challenge. I'm really happy with it, but even though I finished it, I just keep going. So before we talk about the horror movies I've been watching the last couple of weeks or so, I thought I'd share with you some of the horror goodies I've been gifted lately by very lovely people, very nice friends of mine, and things that I found to buy recently that are horror related. So I first want to introduce you to my two new sons. I adopted them recently from my friend Caitlin, who needed a new home for them, and what better place than in the dome that is the Nerdburger land. Here they are. It's a little Billy and a little Chucky. Now, this little Chucky, Caitlin had since she was a child. I think she said she's had it since she was 11 years old, which is cool that her parents let her have a Chucky doll. So he is going to be very well loved up in my Chucky section. It is a sideshow collectible Chucky, and he has a vinyl head and little hands and little tootsies. I love the detail in his sculpting and all the little staples in his head. And he's squishy in the middle, so he's good for cuddling while you're watching movies. And then this guy is a necker. It's Billy. You might know him from the Jigsaw, maybe from the Saw films. He is very dapper in his red suit. I love how gangly and long his little legs are. And I also like that he talks. Got a lot to say. He also has little vinyl hands and a little vinyl head, and you can make him talk and say, "Hey Kaz, how's it going? I love you. Thanks for looking after me for the rest of your life. I'm glad to be your son." Oh, thanks, little Billy. La la la. And thank you, Caitlin. I love them so much, and I'm going to look after them so well. Now, we were at the market recently, like the normal second-hand market where you buy nuts and bolts and hammers and find little vinyl toys, but when we were there, Liam ditched me, which he does all the time. He did it last week too, and I was digging in a tub for toys, and then I looked up and he was gone, and I was like, where did Liam go? But in this case, it was a good time. He left me, and he purchased the Slumber Party Massacre soundtrack on vinyl with this amazing art. Is by Death Waltz. I've never bought anything from there before. It's got some great pictures from the film on the back, and he picked this up for $5. Could not believe he found such an obscure item at the market. It came with some really great things, of course. It came with the insert with information and little photos from the film. It also came with a giant copy of the poster for me to pop on my wall, which I might. I'm thinking about making just a horror movie wall with all the posters that you guys sent me as well. And then the vinyl, let's talk about this vinyl. It was in perfect condition and it is neon yellow and sparkly. But I just wanted to point out that before I had this, I had not seen Slumber Party Massacre. I had seen Slumber Party Massacre 2 at least 2 times because I owned the VHS of that. We picked that up even before we had a VHS player. But I hadn't seen the film. So, for the last week, 3 nights in a row, I sat down, I watched Slumber Party Massacre 1, 2, and 3, and that is such an obscure run of films. Number 1 and number 3 seem quite serious with gross dudes, like, drilling ladies at slumber parties. Like, it is what it is. You know what you're getting into, and all the girls have their tatas out, and they're in slinky outfits, and that's the movie you're watching, and it's great fun, but also a little gross, because it's gross dudes. In 1 and 3, you see the killer pretty much straight away. Like, you can figure out who it is, pretty much. But number 2 is on this whole nother level where it's like a guy who's a rockabilly and he's coming back from the dead and he plays a red electric axe guitar with a drill on the end and sings rockabilly music as he drills girls. It's totally different than the other 2. I don't understand how it exists as a film because it's really loony and crazy, and I don't understand how it is a series because it's not the same killer, and the only thing that's the same is a slumber party. Let me show you a new little friend that I pre-ordered many moons ago at work. Didn't think it was coming, and then here he is. It is my Pennywise, the Tim Curry version from the film It, and it is a living dead doll, and I'm so in love. This is the coolest toy there. Knocking it out of the park recently. I've got a Creature from the Black Lagoon, a Ash from the Evil Dead series, and now we have Pennywise. He has these sharp yellow teeth, his cute little button nose. He has his red balloon that just stays up in the air due to wire, perfectly fits in this hand. It is so well made, and even his costume is pretty accurate. I love his little pom-poms down the front and his little tiny shoes. He stands perfectly, and I put him up the top of my horror collection with a Coraline doll I got because she's got the yellow rain jacket. See what I'm going for? So I've already talked to you guys about Slumber Party Massacre, so we won't talk about those, but let me talk to you about a few horror films that I've absolutely loved in the last couple of weeks. The first was actually on Netflix, and it's Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse from 2015. This movie is super gory, super over the top, and is kind of that end of the world scenario where it's up to kids. Kind of like not Goonies isn't end of the world, but it's kind of like the kids come together to save the day. I just loved every second of this because I used to be a girl guide, so anything about scouts or girl guides I instantly have just a big amount of love for, and this was just so funny and so well made, and the special effects in it were just so good, and especially going into it thinking it wasn't going to be a great film. I just had nothing else to watch that night. I'd finished all my highs for the week, so I put this on. My favourite scene is when they are in a house dealing with zombies, and all of a sudden you hear all these cats going meow, 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 and all of a sudden this giant fluffy white cat starts attacking the kid, and it's so hilarious because it's so terribly made, this cat, but it's like on purpose terribly made. Do you know what I mean? They could have spent the money making a really cool animatronic devil zombie cat, but they didn't. They made this terrible white fluffy cat, and there's all these cats, and they get chased out of the house by zombie cats. Never seen that. It was brilliant. Ton of fun. Scout's Guide to a Zombie Apocalypse. And the last movie I wanted to talk to you guys about is called Blood Diner from 1987. We hired this out from the video store on actual VHS. Yes, they have VHS to hire. And this is all about these 2 dudes, the Tutmans, right? And they are health food restaurant owners, like vegetarian food, and they're serving really great food. Everyone's really enjoying this food and wondering how they can get such meaty texture in it. Turns out they're cannibals, right? And this is actually the flesh of virgins. Yes, and they're currently working together with their deceased family member, who is a brain in a jar with googly eyes, to bring back the goddess Shita to rain down hell on Earth. And to do that, they kill virgins and keep different parts of the organs to create a new version of Shita. This movie is zany as all hell. It has over-the-top silly gore. and I just really enjoyed it. There's also this weird character that has a ventriloquist doll that's a cowboy, and no one talks about it. No one talks about the fact that that's a ventriloquist doll. It's just they're sitting at the chair talking one day, and they don't ever talk about it. So that's some of the movies I've been watching in the last couple of weeks. I also rewatched the Hatchet series, hated that first film, and then Liam's like, you should watch the other two and see how you go, and now I quite like it. It's good fun. It's very over-the-top gore with body parts and legs flying everywhere with great practical special effects. Also watched Sharknado 5, which was really good. I love Ian Ziering. I love him so much, and now I'm rewatching Beverly Hills 90210 because of it. But I've just been enjoying a whole range of horror movies, and so I want to hear from you. What horror movie have you enjoyed recently that I can watch and check out for myself? You know, I've watched 205 horror movies now, so I'm gonna start needing some really obscure suggestions. So think some up, let me know in the comments down below, and hopefully we'll talk about horror movies a little bit sooner than 6 months later. I hope you're having a spooky week, and I'll catch you guys soon. Bye!